Hey, what do you say there, YouTubers? Chuck GRC here. Today what we're going to do is take a second look at that Redcat Camo. After we put it in the shop, we went through the suspension again, and we did some tweaking to the front springs, the rear springs, the sway bar in the back. I don't expect this to act like a Porsche, and I don't want it to act like a Porsche. I mean, it's going to roll, it's going to tip, it's going to bounce around, and we expect that. I'm just trying to get this vehicle to be the best it can be. So let's take a look. Alright, so the first thing I noticed after our run is all the wheel nuts loosened up. So even though I had my camber set straight at 3 or 4 degrees, there was so much wobble in these tires that they were still a positive camber. Luckily they didn't back off far enough where it actually damaged the wheel hubs. So we did that save. These are nylon nylocks with serrated faces on them, so they should lock into the wheels nice and tight, but they all backed off. Every one of them was loose. So what I did is I took them all off, checked the wheel hubs, they're good, the hexes are good, the pins are in, everything's nice and tight. Put blue Loctite on the stubs, on the axle stubs, and ran the nuts back on. So we'll see how that is. I did that last night, so Loctite has a chance to set up. So also what I did is the front suspension seemed a little soft to me. So what I did is I moved them to the outer setting on the top and the inner setting on the bottom, which makes your shock absorber straighter, and that'll make them a little bit stiffer. Okay. I haven't changed the oil in these yet, and I haven't changed the springs, because what you want to do is when you're making alterations is do them in small doses, so you know if any of the changes you made are making a difference. If you just throw in all kinds of parts and adjustments at it, you'll never know exactly what did the trick. So, you know, half the fun is working on these vehicles, is getting the bugs worked out. You know, anybody can open up a brand new box and run it and everything perfect. What's the fun in that? It's kind of nice to be able to tinker with them and personalize them. So, I think we got the suspension in the front good, and we'll see today when we run it. In the back, we had talked about how I had raised the body posts, because you can see here when the body goes down, the upper arms on the sway bar come up into the body. What I did is I shortened the lengths as far as I can get them. That's as much travel as you can get out of it. I don't know if you'll actually ever use that extra travel. We're going to try it as it is and see how it runs. I lowered the body down so the center of gravity is down lower, even though the body's very light. Get the lower center of gravity as far as we can. And the shocks in the rear seemed a little stiff, it was bouncy, so I moved them as far forward as I can on the top. I didn't adjust the bottoms back yet. We're going to see how it does by moving it. I moved them 2 holes. You have three settings. So they were on the back hole, I moved them to the front hole, and we'll see how they do. Okay? And we'll adjust the bottoms after we do a trial. The other thing I found after the run is when I pulled the body off, the ESC was just kind of fell off. The servo tape that they attach it with, I don't know if it was from the heat or if it's just from vibration. So I hot glued it back in place. This chassis it's like a nylon plastic. It's very slick. So what I did is I took my hobby knife and very lightly cross-hatched the area on the bottom of the ESC and on the bottom of the tray, and just a little spot of hot glue in there. Like I said, we don't want to do too many things at one time. We want to be able to know that if our alterations actually made a difference. So we're going to get the body on this and take it out, and we'll see how it does on the second try. So there you go, guys. I think we did pretty good today. We got it dialed in nice. I think I have a little bit more work to do on the front suspension. You know, it's still a little soft. It compresses a little faster than I would like, and it doesn't rebound as quick as I would like. So I'm thinking down here with the Florida heat, maybe a little thicker oil, as I mentioned in the last video. I think a little bit heavier oil in the shocks. I think probably now it has 25 from the factory. I think I'll put a 40 weight in there and see if that makes a difference. Getting to the tires, I had talked about maybe putting a little bit firmer foam in the tires, but I think the tires are good now. You know, that goes back to that, just do one upgrade at a time so you know if what you did has actually made a difference. And I think getting the camber straightened out and getting those front shocks a little firmed up did make a difference. So I think the tires are good for now. The rear, I think the rear is in good shape. It stays planted now much better than it did. I only stuffed it one time because the back end came up and it happened to hit the ground just right, and it went end over end, but that only happened one time the whole day. So I think we're in pretty good shape. So I think this one here, I'm going to clear off a spot in the garage on the shelf, and this one here is going to stay. So I think the next video I do on this will be maybe a bench video, a little bit of shop talk, and we'll go through it together, and I'll show you what I'm going to do as I do it, and you'll see the upgrades that we do. So far, everything I've done on this car hasn't cost me anything. I haven't put any parts in it, other than the shock oil I'm going to add. I haven't done tires, haven't done aluminum links, haven't done any. Everything was just tweaking it as it comes from the factory. So today we used a 2-cell battery. And again, I think that's the way to go. The weight is right, the power to weight ratio is good, and I think we're going to stick with that for now. So on the way out, don't forget to leave a comment, thumbs up, tap the bell for notifications, and we'll see you next time. Cut. I don't know where he went.